JJ and Alex.
I made a name for myself, I told you I won't be denied.
As you wrap up your day, it's time to get your fix of the teams you live for and the sports you love. This is JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Have some respect.
Hey, listen, 67 degrees in the studio, and I got the meat sweats. No problem. No problem.
Thank you, Kenny J.
Listen, that's the kind of deal that we had today, man. We had a company party. Kenny J catered that thing, and our producer, Alex, decided to throw a banana pudding made by...
This is false.
Oh, okay. It's false? You want to refute this?
It was like there was a very, very little left in the cup.
Was the report that he stormed out? Is that what it was, Lloyd? Kenny J stormed out with a tear in his eye? Made that with my own hands. Hey, we want to thank Kenny J's for being awesome today. I got to chat with Kenny today for a few minutes. His wife, Mary. Awesome duo and amazing barbecue. So here we are. He definitely said, send JJ over my way. So you live close enough that you need to go into the actual physical restaurant, JJ. That's
I will go.
Kenny J's.
I will visit Kenny J's
Kenny
very
J's
soon.
and JJ. It's a match made in heaven. See, our producer Alex, you got the meat. You got the meat sweats. You got the meat sweats right now. Let's see. Oh, bring the whole Jensen family out, dude. Come on, let's make this thing. Let's make this thing happen.
My kids like brisket.
Oh yeah, they will, and the ribs are phenomenal. So, killer. Go check it out. Where was I? Hey, our program brought to you by G2G Bars. When you're not eating barbecue, get yourself that G2G Bar, all natural ingredients, no preservatives. The G2G Bar is the perfect protein bar. I'm getting right into our commercials and our reads here because we got to get straight into it. It is football Christmas. That's right. I mean, look, the actual games are the Christmas itself, so maybe this is more like a Black Friday type situation where you get excited for the holiday. But this is, camp is open. We have actual sound from actual coaches talking about actual things going on at their program today. So, JJ, this is about as exciting as it gets. It's the most that we have to go with.
Look,
at the very least.
August 30th is as exciting as it gets.
Yeah,
but
I know.
We don't have that yet. So
That's
you know
what I'm saying.
what? We're a month out. We'll take camp. We'll take interviews with players
exactly
and coaches.
right. That's exactly
it gets
right.
the juices flowing, gets us excited. First day of camp, let's go.
Let's do it. Let's get started with the cut right here, top of the hour. Our very first segment, we're going to get right to the University of Utah, start to get some of those the sounds from your very first practices. Coach Jason Beck, Morgan Scalley. Let's jump into it right now.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
And Trajan Wealth brings you this portion of the program, TRAJANwealth.com for your trusted local needs in retirement. It is the folks at Trajan Wealth. Okay, let's just get right into it. This afternoon, after the afternoon session, you'll hear from Coach Witt and hopefully from some players. We'll see how well that goes down timing-wise with our program. But this morning it was the assistants, and to be able to hear from Jason Beck, obviously, everybody's got questions. Morgan Scalley, that everybody wants to know what is going to happen with the defense this year. Everybody wants to know something from these assistants, so let's jump right in here. Right off the bat, Jason Beck, brand new offensive coordinator for the University of Utah, and, of course, the highly touted quarterback who he brings in, who he's also the position coach for. He started things off, very first practice, very first media session officially with camp underway. Here's Jason Beck from up on the hill.
Doug, who's been here the whole time Wet has, he does a phenomenal job in the weight room. Talked about how strong this group has been, how hard they've worked, and really likes where they're at. So that feedback from him, those comments are really promising that we got a really good group. They're working hard, they're bought in, and we got good leadership.
Spring ball is about, installing the offense. What is the next phase in fall camp in terms of your offense and getting it integrated with the guys?
You obviously need to be ready for all the situations that are going to be coming up, and it's really identifying who are the trustworthy guys, the playmaker guys. When you put those 11 guys together, all doing their different roles, who can you depend on and count on? So it's a matter of finding consistency. Who's showing up every day, consistently getting their job done. So we know we can count on them to put them out there for the game. So that's what you're trying to develop that and tease that out of who to count on when you put them out there.
The last 6 months, Devin's really taken some time to establish his foothold and leadership. I guess heading into fall camp as the offensive coordinator, just what are you looking for him to continue to make steps in establishing himself in the offense and so forth?
Yeah, just continuing to lead, both first by example, through his play, being that real consistent playmaker, doing the right things, and then being a good teammate, which means if you see something, you're not their friend, you're their teammate. Whether that's positively reinforcing what they're doing, or whether that's asking them to live up to a different standard. And so Dev shows up every day and works hard, and he leads by example. And so just continue to do that, and bring everybody else along and develop the chemistry with all those skill guys.
When it comes to QB2 spot, what are you looking for, and how quickly do you want to try to establish that?
Yeah, I mean, you're not too far away now from you start game planning UCLA and in the seasons here. And so we have 2 scrimmages along the way, and by the end of that second scrimmage, you would really like to have an idea, plan of here's what we're doing. And same thing, it's all about, man, who can you trust, who can you depend on, who's being consistent in that role. When their number's called, their opportunity comes up, who's going to be ready to take that on.
Tobias Merriweather and Larry Simmons were the 2 receivers that you brought in during the spring portal. How important are these next few weeks in getting them up to speed with the offense and their chemistry with Dampier?
Oh, it's really important to see what they can bring to this team to help this offense score points to win games. And so them, Bryce Duke, running back, has experiences in. So yeah, it's really these next 2 weeks, you're not making huge judgments right away because it's going to take a little time to settle in and get their rhythm and get going. But once you kind of see that thing turn, now you're looking at that feedback of how are they contributing, what can we count on them for, and to know how we can use them in the offense.
What led to your interest in your pursuit of them? What qualities do they possess that you think translates here?
We're looking for guys who can consistently win, get open, catch the ball. The more they can stretch the field or be versatile, play both outside and inside, is great, but it's all about who can consistently win, make plays, catch the ball to help move the chains and score points.
Kyle talked about this offense will be pretty similar to what you ran at New Mexico. How similar to that, and kind of what are you trying to do that's maybe different, or are you trying to do anything different?
We're still in that process of that playing out. For instance, when we started at New Mexico last year, we had 5-6 skilled receivers that we thought were going to be some of our better players. And as we headed in that first game, that was kind of the trajectory we were on. Well, as we got early in the season, some of those guys were struggling to consistently make plays, and our running backs were way rising up in what they were doing. And so that thing shifted, in that course, and there became 2 receivers and a tight end that we really relied on, and then it was all these running back guys. And so the offense kind of molded more that direction. So, with the Devin and the O-line, that's the most predictable right now. It's the other spots that are more what direction is this going to take with the dependable playmaker, guys you trust, and kind of the offense molding, shifting that direction.
For fans that haven't seen it yet, how would you kind of describe your offensive philosophy?
Man, we really just want to put the right guys in the right places to make plays. We want to adapt to what our strengths are and play to those strengths. Real like eye test. We're going to go not at a fast tempo, but we're going no huddle. We're moving guys around, kind of spread. The QB reads and RPOs are in there. But year to year, that thing always shifts to who's your personnel and what are their strengths. And some years that's more passing, some years that's more running. So, that thing will vary because we want to play to our strengths.
When you have a star receiver or a star running back, it's pretty easy to feature them in the offense. It seems like you've got 2 star offensive tackles. How do you go about featuring your offensive line and their strengths as players?
Yeah, we look at the quarterback first and we look at the O-line second of what they can do. And the O-line's obviously a strength. Specifically with the tackles, man, they're athletic. So you can do things with your tackles where you utilize that athleticism that you may not do with other guys. So, getting them out on the edges and screens to block in space, having them pull in the run game, to add to your run scheme. So using their athleticism to block the second level, to block on the perimeter, is something you want to take advantage of.
You guys moved Otto Tia to tight end towards the tail end of spring. What kind of led to that change, and what are you looking for him to do, as fall camp gets ready to open?
Yeah, he's kind of this hybrid guy that has good size, and he's 220, and he's big, strong receiver. So we know the flexed out in the slot outside stuff is going to be natural for him. So we thought, let's move him to the tight end room so we can develop more of those things that he's not as experienced at. Knowing from that room, we can always flex him out and do stuff. But to have him in the outside receiver room and then try to move him inside to do things, a little different. So that was just the kind of have him in that room as a home base to expand his versatility and how he can help.
In the spring, you said Wayshawn was limited. I guess where is his health at, and do you expect him to be full go for?
Yeah, he's healthy. He's had a really good summer and ready to go. Yeah.
How much does Nate Johnson change this offense for you?
Well, that's going to be part of this discovery of how consistent playmaking. What is he bringing at a high level? Because he definitely has, some juice, speed, and can do unique things. So we definitely want to utilize that, take advantage of it, and discover, man, how much and in what ways and all of those things that we can count on at a high level more than just kind of a gimmicky thing here or there.
Last season, Devin ran a lot and also passed a lot. Is there a development that you're looking for, maybe to have him be more pass first or maybe more run first? I mean, walk me through your thinking on that.
He'll, just him individually, he'll continue to progress and develop and is really capable. So this is not a thing where we were running him more because he was not capable as a passer. It was just, and he'll continue to develop that way. It was really just the pieces around him and what we could do led to him being more involved in the run game. Certain times in the season, we had some critical injuries, and so he became, if it's 4th and 2, who do you trust most to get this thing? And with a couple, there was a spot where in the car he was out with a high ankle sprain. In a couple of those games, no, you absolutely knew Devin would get you the first, so you called his number a little more. So it's just kind of dictated by, the matchup, health, all those things.
Two more here.
Dev talked a lot about just improving his decision making. Now that he's been here for 6 months, have you seen any improvements in that and just turnover ratio or just how he's reading the offense? It's hard to put a total thing on that right now because spring was so new with all the skill guys getting on the same page. Right. So we'll kind of see where it picks up, in fall camp. But no, that's what it's all about, right? It's all about being a dynamic player, being a playmaker, and protecting the ball because that dictates winning at such a high rate. So just going forward that way.
You talked about what Larry and Tobias brings to the wide receiver room. What does Bryce bring to this running back room now that he's joined?
Based off the film, it'd be great to see him and get him, but based off the film, he brings an element catching the ball out of the backfield. He's proven where he's done that in the past. And then his running skill set, he can, he has some juice, so he can pretty good quickness and spring it. So being able to put him in situations to use I wouldn't say he's quite half running back, half slot receiver, but he has a little more of that receiving quality than the typical running back does. And so being able to see what he can do with those skill sets.
Coach Jason Beck, offensive coordinator for the University of Utah. JJ, what stands out from that first kind of real, hey, camp is underway? What do you have in the in the back pocket here? Obviously, the wide receiver group is a question mark. You don't know exactly what you're going to get and who that wide receiver one's going to be, but it really helps to already have that quarterback who's the person who you can rely on. What does the Jason Beck offense look like up at the University of Utah this year?
It's going to depend on those other players. We know what Devin Dampier can do in this offense. He ran it last year at a high level at New Mexico, and granted that was for a program that was obviously improving, but still, lower level group of 5. And he's got to prove that he can execute and put up those kind of numbers at a high level in the Power 4 level of college football. And there's no reason to think he can't make that jump because of the talent that's going to be around him. What's going to dictate and determine how good this Utah offense is this year? I don't know that it's just Devin Dampier, but he's only as good as the guys that are around him. Mm-hmm. Now, he had some good receivers at New Mexico, and they had a nice back end that, Kirry Rogers is here now. But how good are those receivers going to be? Because that is like the biggest question mark. I don't know. I don't know the receiver. And how much tight end will Jason Beck want to use? Because we've been so used to, with Brant Keithy and Dalton Kincaid and the long list of other guys, when Ludwig was the offensive coordinator, how well they used the tight end in recent years. Is Jason Beck going to continue to try to use that tight end? Because not often in his offense has that been a focal point. Or are they really, and Witt said, they're going to be running a spread offense. How often and how much do you use the tight end in that type of an offense? Typically not a lot. So are you leaning on these receivers to make big plays in the pass game? Because Devin Dampier, I believe, has the capability to be a better passer, to complete 60% of his passes, to have at least 2-to-1 touchdown interception ratio, not 12-to-12. It's got to be at least 2-to-1, like 20-10. I think they'd prefer 25-5. You know what I mean?
Sure.
That's what they want. But even if he's 20-10 but has the same rushing numbers, this offense is going to be really good. So those are the things, and it'll help to have the running back. But obviously, Dampier's strength is running the football, so you don't need a 1,000-yard back this year because you're probably going to have a 1,000-yard quarterback. What you do need is a receiver that approaches 1,000 yards. That's going to be, to me, the difference and the tell on how good this offense is. And I think Jason Beck is hoping that some of these guys emerge in camp, and he's going to be patient with some of these new guys, some of these new transfer portal guys. But they can't be patient for long because they got to get this thing figured out and find out who their go-to guys are because, they want to be good out of the gate, and there's just too much on the line for this team this year to not.
Well, let's take a quick break, and we'll come back. We'll listen to Morgan Scalley's first comments from the first day of camp as well. Bringing you all of the info that we have coming off of the Hill, coming up from Provo, anything that comes out of any of these camps here locally, we're going to bring them to you, especially on day one, as we get all the sound that we can gathered for you. And by the way, if you go back and listen to any portion of our show, you can also look online and see. Just go to the KSLSports.com website, click on the podcast page right there, and you can go back and find the coaches and their comments, and you can take a listen for yourself. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll listen to Morgan Scalley from the University of Utah. Give us his thoughts on what this defense is going to look like in 2025. Stay here, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
For the best coverage of the Jazz, Utes, and Cougars is right here on The Zone. This is JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back, JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Camp is underway for the biggest programs here in the state, and of course, college football is where we live when that happens. And so we appreciate you joining us on the program today. We've got lots of sound to move through. Got a lot of sound from the Hill. University of Utah, of course, gave their assistants. We have a small window, JJ, when it comes to the assistants with Utah. They have a policy.
Get your questions in now.
They have a policy.
Yeah.
Football season gets underway. Don't ever ask for them again. Fine. We'll get him. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna abuse the power that we have right now.
They make appearances occasionally. We're having fun, but it's not often, and that's by design.
Often.
That's okay.
It's fine. They've got a lot going on. But we're gonna get you Utah sound right now. BYU wrapped practice. You ready for the guest list of who they rolled out for their first press conference here, the first day of camp? Just running straight into the wall of the questions. Let's just get this thing over with. Kalani Sitake, McKay Hillstead, Bear Bachmeier, and Trayson Bourget, all three quarterbacks and your head coach available for BYU. So BYU fans, if you're listening and you want to get that fix, they rolled out all three of the quarterbacks and Kalani on day one, which we love. So we'll get to that coming up next hour. In the meantime, Mountain Land Supply, Hans and Scotty are going to be there on Friday, or they're going to be here in studio talking to Hans and Scotty about the Valley View Open Golf Tournament that raises thousands for the Giving Hope Foundation. So give them a listen on Hans and Scotty. What day is that? Is that tomorrow? I'm assuming it's going to be tomorrow. It's going to be Friday. So there you go. Let's jump in right here. We've got lots to cover here because University of Utah defensive coordinator Morgan Scalley sitting in front of the microphone today talking about that defense. I don't think a lot of people are wondering exactly if this defense is going to be dialed in or any good. It's about how you rebound and the idea of having a spread offense on the other side of a Utah defense, right? You got a spread offense for Utah's offenses here. It sounds crazy. I don't know how many offenses that have been spread offenses that Kyle Whittingham has had to deal with. I guess for a moment with Troy Taylor, but even then, it was not really a true spread offense.
Right.
And so it's a new world that they're living in at the University of Utah. Morgan Scalley has one job. That's to make sure that this defense is dialed in. And here's what the defensive coordinator for the Utes and coach in waiting, Morgan Scalley, had to say day one of camp.
I asked you at the end of spring what might still be top of mind come fall, and you mentioned depth at corner and defensive tackle. Obviously, you haven't been on the field yet, but where do you feel you are there?
Same spot. That's good. Very good.
Way to set him up. Okay.
Yeah. But, good to have a couple, few new D tackles, Dylan Battle, transferring from LSU, Pupu Sepulona, Semi Taulanga. So those bodies will help out a lot in the depth category. Now it's just a matter of developing them and seeing who can play right away. The good thing is we're not having to do much physically with them. Their weight's where it needs to be. It's just learning the defense.
What led to your pursuit of Dylan Battle in the transfer portal, outside of just the need of depth?
Well, depth, the relationship he had with a former teammate, and he was being let go. It was also an opportunity to look at something. He was coming off an injury, and we felt like we could be pretty aggressive in the treatment of it, that we could get him going right away. So there are a few things there, but obviously the relationship we had with his coaching staff back in high school and then his relationship with Nate.
When you look at fall camp, how do you want to approach it in terms of trying to get guys aggressive, kind of get them ready, but also still kind of save some for the season?
Yeah, it's a physical sport. You gotta be able to practice tackling. I think a few years ago when we played Florida, first time we played Florida at their place, we tried to dial it down physically, and we missed a ton of tackles in that game, and it exposed us a little bit. So yes, we want to get to the first game healthy, and we're spacing out the practices and the periods in a way that we feel like we're being smart with their health, but at the same time, as a physical sport, you got to practice physicality, you got to be able to tackle and do the things that football players do.
Your defensive end room looks noticeably different, obviously in terms of the faces, but also just leaner builds, more athleticism. Has that been a point of emphasis this offseason, increasing the athleticism?
Not necessarily. I would say getting stronger, definitely. You're always looking for speed off the edge. This is, again, a point I've talked about before. I'm much more focused on a productive, efficient pass rush than sacks. If I'm hitting a quarterback, if I'm being disruptive, then you're forcing him to get rid of the ball quicker than he wants to. So I felt like we did a pretty good job of that last year. Obviously, the sack count wasn't what it was in previous seasons, but I felt like we were effective at getting to the quarterback. I like the depth that we have there. I think that we've gotten better. Coach Powell's done a great job of developing that group, and it's going to be a competitive fall camp for those guys.
You guys added a pair of corners also in the portal, J.C. Hart and Jalen Mosin. What do they bring to this corner room?
We'll find out. J.C. obviously has a ton of speed. He was a track guy out of high school, had shown that at Auburn, the speed and the fluidity that we were looking for. He's got to continue to make sure that he's doing everything he can to be healthy, with shoulder and everything. But and then Mosin obviously provides some quickness, some athleticism. So those are two guys that need the development as well, but we would not have gone that route if we didn't feel like we could use them right away.
You've seen a lot of offensive looks in your tenure, but what does it mean to have a guy like Devin Dampier who can kind of make things just different to kind of help your defense?
Athletic quarterbacks just cause issues, particularly when you're going to use them in a dedicated quarterback run game. It's one thing for him to just pull it on his own, escape the pocket, things break down, and he's able to make plays just with his legs on his own. But when there's a dedicated run package, or that you as a defensive coordinator really have to focus on, okay, how are we going to add a guy in the box? How are we going to take care of the quarterback in the run game? It really forces you to practice that. So he provides both. He can, if you're going to four-man rush the kid, he does a great job of understanding when things break down, when to take off, but they also have a very good dedicated QB run game.
At the beginning of spring, you talked about having an emphasis on more havoc plays this season. How do you feel that went in the spring, and then how is that work going to continue going on into the fall?
I felt like havoc plays were a strong emphasis in spring. I felt like we did a really good job of it. The takeaways were really good. That's got to continue in fall camp. The studies have shown us that your takeaways come from. Your number one takeaway in the Big 12 last year was an interception in zone coverage. It's zone eyes. It's quarterbacks forcing things into windows. The second was interceptions in man coverage, which man coverage, usually that's more of an incompletion coverage. Your completion percentage goes down. And so the majority of interceptions you see there are, tipped passes, free safety coming over the top. And then, so the next thing that you're looking at is forced fumbles from the second guy in, not the first guy in, second guy in. So there are certain takeaways, certain aspects of takeaways that you can practice. Zone drops, catching a football, including footballs in your drill work. And then a focus on second guy in, how to strip the ball, how to take care of the ball, how to go down, how to recover a ball in traffic versus how to recover a ball in space, right? And so those are the things that we have to do a really good job of. The things that you can practice in terms of takeaways, you better be practicing. And I feel like we're doing a good job of that.
You talked about completion percentage, in coverage. Smith Snowden allowed, I think, like 40% in coverage. Teo Johnson was also really good. What's going to be the key for them becoming more playmakers on the ball and getting those takeaways?
It's just a matter of making the plays. There's a couple times last year where Teo's got the ball right there, can make a play, didn't make the play. And so it's just a matter of making the play. He's got the athleticism, he's got the ability. We just got to be able to make the play. So again, drill work where they're flipping, finding the ball, right? Look, lean, locate drills on the sideline when you're working fades. Vertical routes, jumping in front of the vertical route, when to steal, when to strike. Right, there comes a time where you have to make that decision as a safety. Am I going to be able to get to the ball? If not, strike him. If I can get there, steal it. So again, drill work is a big part of that.
In spring, you had talked about you guys just weren't good enough in stopping the run. How do you feel like you can change that this year? What is the personnel like? How do you kind of get to that point?
Some of it was technique. Some of it was missed tackles. So again, we got to be able to tackle better. The not throwing shoulders, making sure that we understand proper tackling technique, and then proper technique in maintaining gaps. A bunch of the big hitters were guys not maintaining their gaps, and that's just an alignment assignment deal.
Alignment assignment. Let's go. We got a new T-shirt to make, JJ.
Love those words. That means it's camp time.
Morgan Scalley's got a lot going on, but what I think he most has going on, obviously having to replace what their D line is going to look like, whether or not they're going to be able to replace, you've got Junior Tafuna and Keanu Tanavasa out the door, and those are two like fringe All-American guys, right? Like you're talking about guys who could be, I mean, that those are difference makers, and so replacing those guys is not easy. However, you and I both know that this system is, one, they recruit well.
Yes.
Two, they have it down to where if you know the system and if you do have technique and if you do know what this defense is all about, then you know what? It's kind of plug and play. Yeah, we need some aggressive playmakers in the middle. That's what you do, but guess what you have? A strong linebacking core behind you, and I don't think a ton of drop-off talent-wise, because you know what? Last year, say what you will about the talent that they're missing. Keanu Tanavasa was injured a lot last year.
Yeah.
Not playing hurt in some cases, and missed games. And Junior Tafuna wasn't up to snuff of what he had been in prior years. He wasn't the star that people thought he was.
The dominating force that we expected.
Right.
And was good.
I
think that the expectations were really high his final year there.
So in that case, it's interesting to see what they're going to do to replace him. However, like I said, I think that Morgan Scalley, you can hear the smile on his face. I think he knows what he's got. I think he knows the type of guys he has. And by the way, you could say to yourself, man, what a terrible year that was last year. That's a defense that ended up second in the conference in scoring defense and in yards per game. Like, you're the number 2 overall defense still in the conference on a quote-unquote bad year. Right?
I start going through some of these names, and I think you feel pretty confident. Like Dallas Vakalahi, who played at West High School. He's a sophomore now. I think he's going to be a starter, one of those defensive tackle positions. They got Aliki Valahi, who's been there for a while. And you start going down the depth chart, and they bring in a transfer, Dylan Battle. I think he was out of LSU.
They've
got depth there,
yes.
And they've got young guys. Mm-hmm. Sione Motu Apawaka is somebody you might be able to see. Jonah Liea, another one. Carson Kafusi is a freshman. These are guys that haven't had the chance yet, but because those guys departed, I think they'll surprise. And you can tell he's confident in those guys. Then you go to the ends. John Henry Daly, we might see him. Logan Fano, you know who he is.
Yeah.
Cash Dillon out of Corner Canyon. This dude is a beast. And if he's finally ready to go at this level, he could do some damage. Paul Fitzgerald's another guy that's come into the program. Lance Holtzclaw, the transfer from Washington. They've got guys on the defensive line that I think can get the job done. And then you look behind them. Yeah, linebacker, they're loaded. John O'Hall, Lavani Damouni, Lander Barton. That's a good group. And then their secondary is really good. Teo Johnson's an NFL guy. Smith Snowden's an NFL guy. Elijah Davis at one corner. We'll see who wins the other corner position. Rabbit Evans is a proven commodity at this point. We know who Nate Ritchie is. And Jackson Benny had some nice plays last year. You know these guys. Mm-hmm. They're going to be fine.
Yeah.
But this group as a whole, and he was asked about it, and Kyle Whittingham brought this up at Media Day, they have to have more disruptive plays. We talked to Sly about it yesterday. They had some early in the season. Remember the blocked kick against Baylor that they ran back for a touchdown, Teo Johnson. That was awesome. Well, then there was this long period of time where we didn't see anything like that until the end of the year when Lander Barton finally got a pick 6 against Iowa State. That pick 6 streak they had was in jeopardy until late in the season. And then obviously Smith Snowden gets one against UCF. So they need to have that consistently throughout the season. That's what Utah football is on defense. Disruptive plays, get after the quarterback, cause disruption, create turnovers, convert those turnovers into points. That's what Utah defense has done for a long, long time. They want to get back to that this year at a higher level. That's going to be the difference with this defense. I read all the names off. That's a lot of talent. I think they're going to be really good. Can they execute and force those turnovers that lead to more points, that make it a lot easier on their offense? That's going to be the difference in whether this team is a better team or a championship team.
All right, let's take another break here. We'll come back. We have our Would You Rather around the corner. Don't want to miss any of it. We've got tons to break down here for you. If you've got a product that you're passionate about, you'd like to have us endorse it on this program right here and on our station, it's simple. All you have to do is just text the letters JJ to 57500. Our sales staff is going to work right with you, and then you can work directly with us. to be able to get your product out there. All you have to do is text JJ to 57500. JJ and I will endorse your product, and we'll make that thing sing, man, and you will see the results. So just JJ to 57500. We'll come back. We got more to go around the corner. Also in the 4 o'clock hour, the color analyst for Texas Tech football on the radio, Chris Lovell's going to join us next, or coming up at 4 o'clock. So we'll have Would You Rather coming up. Then we've got our conversation with Chris Lovell, and then we've got all sorts of audio still. You're going to hear from Jim Harding, and then your 5 o'clock hour. Hoping to hear also from Kalani Satake, McKay Hillstead, Trayson Bourget, and Bear Bachmeyer. So stay right here. Stay dialed in. The best audio right here from fall camps across the state, 97.5 EKSL Sports Zone.
Listen, everybody. Real-life hypotheticals to get your brain churning. As JJ and Alex ask, would you rather?
All right, everybody, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5 EKSL Sports Zone. Thanks for being with us as we roll out all the sound from camp that we can for you. Coming up next hour, we're going to be chatting with Chris Lovell, who's the radio analyst for Texas Tech football. That's a team that both BYU and Utah have to face off against. Utah gets to host Texas Tech. I think, is it their first?
That's their first conference game. Yes, that's correct.
First conference
big game in September. Big swing game in September for both schools.
It's at Rice Eccles.
Yes.
And then BYU's got to go down to Lubbock, which I don't even know when the last time they did. When was the last time they went down to Lubbock to play a football game?
I don't think they ever have.
At Patrick Mahomes Stadium there in Lubbock?
Nope.
Never? No, they've never gone down there?
I don't think so.
Wow. Okay.
Not to my knowledge. I'll look that up real quick while we're doing Would You Rather.
Would you rather play a football game in Lubbock or play a football game in Ames, Iowa? This is not me trying to take a shot, because listen, they'll take a shot. These teams will take shots at them. These are both very good teams in the conference, JJ. I'm just saying these are tough environments to go into.
They're both beautiful in November.
They're both tough environments to go into.
I don't know, Lubbock. I think Ames is probably tougher to play. I think Iowa State's been better traditionally.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to say Lubbock, but they feel like it's the same thing.
But
this year, it's probably the answer is probably Ames this year, right?
Yeah.
We both agree that we think we don't know anything in the Big 12. We think Texas Tech is going to be very, very good, and I picked them to win the conference.
So I got to see a lot of pictures over the last couple of days of Luka Doncic, looking svelte, by the way.
Yeah.
Male model territory with Luka Doncic. The Yankees had to get him a schmedium for the shirt when he came and visited Yankee Stadium.
When's the last time Luka fit a schmedium?
Schmedium. So here's my question for you, because a lot of pictures of he and Aaron Judge, who, by the way, is taller than Luka Doncic.
Isn't that crazy?
I know he's probably wearing cleats, but like Luka's, I think 6'7", 6'8"-ish, and I think that Aaron Judge is about the same. And baseball's kind of funny, too, because you'll have guys who are 6'8", and they'll go, no, I'm 6'6" and a quarter. You know, they have the opposite in basketball, right? So would you rather be the bona fide slugger, MVP candidate, Triple Crown threat, Aaron Judge playing for the freaking Yankees at Yankee Stadium, or the hotshot Lakers shooting guard or power forward in Los Angeles? It's a little bit of the shine is off because you're not at the Western Forum anymore that you and I both know, like, has a vibe to it, you know?
Oh, what I don't even, is it Staples back again?
No, it's crypto
something currency.com /
So Lakers hotshot Lakers hotshot All-Star or Yankees hotshot center fielder.
That's a really tough would you rather, and I think it depends on what your passion is. I'm going to go Luka just because if I could be great at one sport, it would be basketball. Like, I'm really jealous of these guys that are 6'7" and can fly through the lane and dunk. Like, we're watching AJ DeBonsa. You saw his vertical leap the other day that BYU shared.
Oh, yeah.
Insane. Like, that's, in my opinion, the elite of elite athletes are NBA players. But Aaron Judge is special, and playing for the Yankees is special, and being one of the best baseball players on the planet is also enticing. So, but I'm going to go with Doncic. But I don't want to play for the Lakers.
Well, I told you.
And I don't like the Yankees either.
Well, I told you that there's no wrong answers on these hypotheticals, but you're dead wrong today. I'm so sorry.
Really?
Pinstripes?
I don't like the Yankees.
Neither do I, but I know what the history is.
And I like baseball's cool and all. I like I said,
they're like you and
being an NBA player.
Yeah,
to me would be more.
But they're like you and Babe Ruth. You, Babe Ruth, and Lou Gehrig mentioned in the same conversation. I get it.
That's special.
You and Magic and Kareem being mentioned in the same category as well, and now LeBron. That's pretty special too. But the Lakers purple and gold, I think, takes a definite step down on the podium from the Yankees pinstripes. And I don't like either franchise, but at least I understand my history. How dare you?
By the way, I have an answer for you.
What is it?
BYU has played
in Lubbock.
It's been a minute, though.
Oh, can I guess?
Yes.
1967.
Pre-World War II.
No!
Yeah.
1940.
Yep, that's correct.
Really?
October 18th, 1940. At that time, the stadium in Lubbock had 7,000 seats.
Ooh. Could you imagine the smell on that train getting back home? There was no charter.
Are we sure they rode a train? Did they have to walk back from Lubbock?
If you lose, you got to take the hand cart back.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm just saying. There's no, I mean, I guess there could have been a bus situation, but I think this is
I wouldn't
more
want
of
to trek back across Wyoming on October 18th, I'll tell you that.
Punching your Did they lose?
BYU lost 21-20. Of course, the only other
close
time,
game at least.
They've only met twice. The only other time was 2023, BYU's first year in the Big 12. They beat Tech.
That was
27-14.
That was Tyler Batty Loogie Gate.
That's right. Loogie Gate.
Coach McGuire, Joey McGuire going, go back, check the tape. I didn't see any spit flying. Like, we were having a conversation about, whether or not Kramer and Newman got hit from a magic loogie from the bushes. That was basically what
Coach McGuire's come a long way from having to explain a loogie in a football game to having $1 billion donor.
It's quite crazy.
That's quite a character arc in 2 years.
Yeah, $1 billion donor in Lubbock or USC, just USC.
$1 billion donor in Lubbock. Man. Are you kidding me?
I know. Look, USC. Nobody's even talking about them.
They're mid. I'm being honest.
I know.
Mean, a lot of people would put them in a top 25 just because it's USC, but you saw the Big Ten poll. What are they, 9th?
Yeah, I think that they're very bottom third.
Can you imagine USC at any point in time being picked to finish 9th in a conference?
But both UCLA and USC, bottom third of the conference, and UCLA even worse.
What happens to Lincoln Riley
if
they finish 9th or lower in the Big Ten this year? What happens?
That's a place that'll fire a guy. They don't care. They'll fire him.
It's quite a buyout.
It will be tough. Yeah, but he's already been there. Like, the reality is that in the SEC, he's already been there 2 years longer than they probably should have let him.
Right.
If we're talking about that. Notre Dame buyout wise, I mean, this is a Charlie Weiss situation to be paying him for years. They don't care. Get him out of there.
That's true.
Now we'll take a break. We'll come back. When we do, we will play for you. No, we're going to have that conversation with Chris Level, radio analyst for Texas Tech football, joining us next right here at 97.5 EKSL Sports Zone.